Pentru următorul moment al serii vom trece în limba engleză. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest will make his debut on the quarterly report stage as a CEO. He's been here many times, so please welcome the one and only Peter de Boer from AGRAR.
Thank you. Sorry, yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, and I'm glad to be back here at this great event, and especially we just announced some changes, some minor ones. I became CEO, let's say, but it's not important. Mainly about the strategy. Of course, we announced our new strategy for the coming 5 years. Where we announced diversification, extension or increase of our current production capacity, further integration of our business model. We updated our scenarios, and what we tried to achieve by publishing this strategy and this document of 78 pages. I hope you all had time to read it, and otherwise I highly recommend you to read it, because we put a lot of sweat, tears, and positive energy to create this document, let's say. So what we try to do is to show what is our philosophy, our vision, to put a stip on the horizon where we want to go the coming 5 years. It's not an end station, so that's the reason in our strategy we segmented in 3 pillars, I could say. So some more rollout investments, let's say, that are investments in new farms, extra compost plants, etc. So investments where we have already experiences in as an organization, some R&D, and some other new investments that we are quite sure that we will do, but the financials behind it we will update you in the coming months. So let's get ahead. We are already one of the leading, or more or less we could say we are the leading milk producer in the EU, including in the UK. Last year, we produced 63 million liters of milk. This year, our goal is 70 million liters of milk. And our goal in 2030, and we will see that at the end of the presentation, is to produce between 150 and 200 million liters of milk annually. And that will, let's say, the second milk producer in Europe produces probably somewhere around 50 or 60 million liters. So that will put us quite on the lead in all over Europe. Next to that, we started, of course, also with compost. Our compost plant, our first one is already operational. We go through the strategy step by step, to be clear. And also we will discuss, of course, our upgrade in the coming years to the main market. But first things first. First get the administration done, I would say. So first we had, of course, our first quarter result. It was the strongest first quarter we had in the history of the AGRAR. So we see a strong turnover growth, also the budgeted one. And so far we are really on target to reach our budget by the end of the year, which is a net profit of 38 million. But if things continue like this, it could be, let's say, that we come with an update on the 28th of August when we have our teleconference for the half-year results, which we publish on the 27th of August, I think. So here you could see, although we had for some years a quite stable turnover, last year we had an increase. Also this year we expect another growth on turnover, but especially if you look to the EBITDA and the net profit, the AGRAR has shown since its listing and based on the figures of 2021, a significant growth. We tripled in the first 2 years our business, and our next goal is by 2027, based on the figures of 2023, to double our business model, and we are clearly on track to that. Okay, as I said, the first quarter we had a net profit growth of 78%, mainly due to the fact that we had an increase in milk price of over 20%, as well as that we produced more milk as well, and we further optimized our processes. And let's move on quickly to the strategy. So here you can see already that we start to diversify our business model. Some things are related, some things are new. If we divide our business in segments for the coming years till 2030, of course, milk production, This year, as I said, 70 million liters of milk. In 2030, 150 to 200 million liters of milk. Green energy. We announced last year our cooperation agreement with Black Sea Oil and Gas, one of the largest operators on the Black Sea, to develop the largest biomethane plant in Romania, between 15 and 20 megawatts. I expect to come with some announcement in the coming 2 weeks regarding the next phase. As well, that we expect yearly incomes there between 3.5 and 4 million euros, where the AGRAR is responsible for delivering the feedstock and the transportation of it. So you can imagine that a big part of those incomes go directly into our profit, which we can reinvest or, in case requested, use for dividends in the future for our shareholders. Next to that, we started, of course, now to mount on all our farms solar panels, which is another reduction of electricity costs, and of course it's good for our footprint, because through this we reduce our emissions, but especially with the biogas plant, where we reduce our emissions with 90%. Next to that we have it, it's good to mention for the green energy that we expect that the plant becomes operational in our budget, at least in 2028, but this could be also in 2027. We acquired the land already. We are now working on the building permits and all the authorizations to start, hopefully, construct next year. Then we have, of course, our compost. This year, we inaugurated our first plant of 7,000 tons capacity. The second one is now on the boat from Japan. So by the end of the year, we will have 14,000 tons of organic fertilizer, which currently have a market price of between 180 and 220 euros per ton. Later on, we will invest in small packaging machines where we can also have 5, 10 and 20 liters, but that's for in the coming years. Then, of course, we have vertical farming. Our goal is to replace 20 to 30% by the production of wheatgrass to feed our feedstock, to increase milk production with a constant protein level of 24%. We will start in the coming weeks. We rented a building to build up a test vertical farm of 9 meters to test the climate, to test the growing process, etc. And we are quite far with obtaining financing. And for as it looks now, the first investment will be around probably 5 million euros for a 40-ton production capacity per day. And I think we will announce financing in September or latest October, and construction is expected to start in Q1 next year. We acquired already the land, and we are currently working on the building permits. And then alternatives for valorizing the milk. Because of the time, we will not go too deep in this, but we are looking to extract water from the milk to be able to export further our milk, as we are, of course, affected by the local legislation regarding a price cap on dairy products. As well as we could look into milk powder, butter, and these kind of products, or to separate fat and protein and to transport the cream to companies like Unilever or Nestle. And of course, greenhouses. That's the last segment, and there we expect to do a major capital increase, probably around 2028. But that's currently under analysis. And by the end of the year, we will come with a dedicated plan, which crops you want to invest in, which type of greenhouse, how high-tech would we like to go. Would we see a lot of promise there as well, especially that there are some synergies through the biomethane plant, where you can capture CO2 and inject into the plant, as well as with the fertilizer product. So our core pillars are diversification. We are a leader on sustainable farming, you could say. Digital optimization, expansion, and of course, by the end of the day, where we are here is to create value for you. If we look to the timeline, this year, of course, the Straatje farm, which we started to produce milk, it's our newest farm in March. By the end of August, we will reach already our capacity of 1,800 dairy cows, which was estimated by the end of the year, but we are really on track. And we expect now by the end of the year to reach over 2,000 dairy cows, or 2,200, 2,500 dairy cows by this farm. Also, the construction of this farm is finalized by the end of next year. And that farm will at least produce 100,000 liters of milk, but we expect that we can further increase that to 150,000 liters of milk per day. Then, of course, vertical integration and diversification. The first vertical farm next year will become operational, 40 tons. As I said already, we will go for a loan, around 5 million euros. We think is the initial investment for 40 tons. In our strategy, you find the estimated budget for 20 tons, where we said 3-4 million euros. But now through testing, we further optimized the production capacity. Then we start next year as well with the construction of the Koet 2 farm, our newest announcement. It's a farm for 5,000 animals. It will be just a copy and paste of the Straja farm. We finalized already the land acquisition for this farm as well. And we will start now for the authorization for this farm as well. And it will be, so we have Koet 1. Then we will have the biomethane plant directly on the other side of the road. Behind it, we will have the Koet 2 farm for 5,000 animals. They will transport the manure with pipes to this biomethane plant. We will have a vertical farm with, as start, 40 tons of food per day for those animals, as well as a double compost unit we will build there. So it will be a complete industrial cluster where we can use renewable energy and produce in a really green way for our animals, let's say, and where we can valorize not only milk, but also the manure 2 times through the biomethane plant as well as to the compost plant. Then 2027, biogas entry could start, but at latest 2028. The Straja farm, the first one, will be finalized. As we say, the biogas end of 2027 becomes operational. The Koet 2 farm, we will install the milking infrastructure, solar panels. If we go to 2028, the Koet farm will start to acquire animals from our other farms. From March, we will extend the vertical farm and those compost 2 units, and we will take a decision on the Straja 2 farm. That's, again, so we have Straja 1, we will copy that to Koet 2, and then we will have maybe also a Straja 2 farm, which is then a copy of that Koet 2 farm, but we will only do that investment if we will be able to valorize our milk so that we are not necessarily dependent more or less on the local market, but that we could export those commodities to the countries around or rest into Europe. Especially now we started to export our milk also to Greece and Italy, and they have a really good stable milk price, let's say, so that are markets where we're looking at. Then we have 2029, the first greenhouse should become operational, so at latest we will do the upgrade to the main market in 2028. Although we are relatively sad, or how to say it, we are not that satisfied or enthusiastic about the valuation of the AGRAR on the stock exchange. So if it remains more or less like this, probably we will take the decision to do the upgrade to the main market significantly sooner, and then without a major capital increase, and that to add that later to the program. And okay, now 2030 says for itself. So to go quickly, because I see it's blinking red here. So investment in Koet 2 farm, 5,000 cows. We start construction this year, operational from 2027 March. Then we have, of course, the research and development, decision taken in 2027. Expanding milk production at the Appold farm. Now we have approximately 70,000 liters of milk per day, and we will increase this to 100,000. And of course, the Straja farm will be fully operational in 2028. Now, I mentioned already the process of the Straja farm, that we are quite advanced. End of August, 1,800 animals, which was predicted for the end of the year. The compost units, I mentioned already, we will in 2030, so now we have 7,000 tons of capacity, and in 2030 we will produce 40,000 tons of organic fertilizer, which we plan to totally export or to sell here on the local market. Also, we will obtain 100,000 certificates, voluntary carbon certificates. Currently, they have a value of around 20 million, sorry, not 20 million euro, 20 euros. And those we could also sell. And currently, we are discussing with large gas companies so they can reduce their emissions. And green energy turnover, 3.5 to 4 million euros per year. Also here, what we see over here is quite interesting, especially the reduction for the solar panels. 2026, we expect 500K. The year after, in 2037, 700K reduction, and 2028, 900K reduction. Later this year, we will also try to get subventions for the Straja farm to obtain solar panels as well. The vertical farm here, you see this is the vertical, this is the grass or the wheat grass, what comes out. 40 tons per day. And now we are analyzing. First we saw that it takes 7 or 8 days to grow it. And we thought you need light for those 7 or 8 days. Now we found out by testing ourselves that you only need the first 4 days, the plant doesn't need light. So you have a significant reduce of electricity consumption. Now we are testing if we could mow the wheat grass, so we can use twice the seed. But then you need to, of course, test as well. Do you need to add extra light? Do you need fertilizer, etc.? So we are testing and we're taking this really serious before we do the first investments. But we are in a hurry because we have a really dry year this year, so it would have been great already if we would have this plant. The milk, I mentioned already that we want to diversify. So we look to separate fat and protein, butter, milk powder, or extract just water from the milk. You can transport more, and we could significantly increase our exports to mainly Greece and Italy. The greenhouses we will come in the coming period. Only 30 hectares in Romania are covered by greenhouses. It's a nation that imports significantly vegetables, and especially if you see the greenhouse market in general, most of the farmers or the greenhouse farmers, they harvest their crops in the period that also the conventional crops are harvested. So of course then the market prices are low. But we will look for a business case where we harvest in periods or when there are shortages on the market, or at least that you don't compete with the conventional crops. We started already to cooperate, and I think in the coming months we will announce the cooperation agreement for the wheat grass, but also for the greenhouses. And I hope by the end of the year that we have quite a high-level plan for the greenhouses as well, which we can present. So in 2030, a vision of scaled growth, that is how we look at it. So we transform our companies now from local entities into cluster models, where we use the synergies that those models offer. I said already, between 150 and 200 million liters annually, close to 30,000 animals, 6 composting units, resulting in 40,000 tons of organic fertilizer, 5 wheatgrass plants, 2 industrial scale greenhouses. What do we mean with industrial scale? We don't look for 20 or 30 hectares. We try to dream big, but also to be realistic. But at minimum, the first one should be 15 hectares. But the analysis we perform now is more for 50 or 60 hectares covered greenhouses. So you have an industrial park, and you can be really competitive, and you can use other synergies, let's say. Then the scenarios. Our goal is to double our EBITDA in 2030. And it depends a bit on the milk price, etc. Okay, which scenario to follow. Currently, we are of course close because the milk price is high. It also remains high in the second quarter. So we are probably close to scenario 4. But we estimate that it will be scenario 2 or 3, like in the past. That is our goal, let's say. And it's good to mention, in those scenarios are only the current development of the Strasia 1 farm, 2 composting units, and the Kut 2 farm, and of course the biomethane production from 2028. All the other projects, greenhouses, extra composting units, etc., milk valorization, are not in the model. So if we work really hard, we can even deliver way better results than we present over here. No, that was the next slide. So, no, I tried. No, I didn't succeed, but I never succeed. So thank you very much for your attention. And yes, I don't know if there are any questions or.
Thank you very much, Peter. And congrats for the results.
Sorry, yeah.
Man, will you ever stop growing, guys?
I'm sorry?
Will you ever stop growing?
No, we have all the time the discussion with our investors. We have a part of our investors who really want dividends. Although I must say, I wrote now the chapter of dividends because I thought we have always this request. But I got almost only negative reactions, let's say. And I'm really happy about that. It means we target the right investors because we want long-term investors and investors focused on growth and not... we are not that a fan of dividends in our stage, let's say. So although I wrote now the chapter, but I got a lot of emails, phone calls, etc. So if I say, no, go for growth, we don't want dividends. So.
Yeah, I have a question from the chat. Considering the results in the first quarter, do you expect to have a higher profit this year than you anticipated in your 2025 budget?
Regarding the budget, you mean? Yeah. So we expect a profit of around 38 million. Of course, we all saw We had in Q1 already 14 million. We had an increase in milk price of around 23%. Also in Q2, we have a significant, you can see that in our reports and presentation, we have a significant higher milk price than last year. And also if we look to the rest of the year, it looks quite good. Although there was too much milk lately on the market, we see now clearly requests from our clients to increase deliveries, or at least to maintain the level that we currently deliver. So we see the market is recovering. Currently the milk price stabilized, but we could see, normally we see an increase in milk price in September, most of the time October. It's stabilized in the summer. But it could be that we see already again an increase in August, let's say. So overall, it looks really good. Of course, the agricultural year is it's a different story this year. Many years we benefited from Transylvania, but we are now in the driest area, especially between Orastia, Sibiu, and Alba Iulia, let's say, or Cluj. That is the driest area of the country this year. But for that, we want to invest in the wheatgrass production, let's say, to be less dependent on conventional crops and to deliver a constant quality. Like the Lucerne, the first one was quite dramatic. The Triticale depends on which location. The corn does well, the first one, but the second crop corn, no, it depends in the coming weeks, let's say, if that would be a good investment or not.
Thank you.
Peter, you have set this target to double EBITDA and net profit by 2030. You're also considering dividend payments in 2027 or 28, as well as significant capital expenditures. So my question is, how will you manage the capital structure, and which is the top priority? Investments, debt reduction, or rewarding shareholders?
No, our top priority, and it's I think in our DNA, and that's also what we like to do, where we get energy from, is growth. So we are a growing company, and that was also the reason in the last couple of years we didn't pay dividends, because in our opinion this contradicts with a company who says it goes for high growth. Then you should use your resources to sustain this growth. We still are convinced of this, so but we see this request every now and then, it pops up, or not every now and then, every quarter. So the main resources will be allocated for growth. We expect that the investments in the wheatgrass, in the composting units, etc., that we can do that partly with own sources as well as bank financing. Where we see it's a different case, it's regarding the greenhouses, because we want to directly be competitive and to operate a large-scale industrial plant. It depends a bit which crop you choose or how high-tech you go, but I think our aim is to go as high-tech as possible. That means that is over 1 million euros of investment per hectare. So now you can all do the mathematics. We don't want to raise, don't worry, we don't want to raise 50 or 60 million euros from the capital market, but our aim is to attract pension funds or institutional investors to partially participate in this. Subsidies, I think we can at least aim 40-50% subsidies, and then we could see where we are, maybe some bank financing or bonds. It could be a combination of that. But our aim is clear: growth. And we will discuss with our investors, do they want a share buyback program, do they want free share or a stock split, or dividends. And a solution could be that maybe next year at the AGA that we will implement e-vote. Then the main shareholder will withhold from voting, and then the investors can choose. And then I have a good argument, let's say, then I don't need to defend our position anymore. The recommendation from the management will be a share buyback program, but everyone can vote freely. And then that's clear. It's the most democratic way probably to do this. And to solve this issue once and for all, let's say. Not for all, but at least for the coming years.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you very much. I have one thing to add. And Lakshman, maybe you could give me something. Lately, one of your team members, they published something about the AGRAR, and it was the maximum, that we have a production capacity of 50 million liters. Now, we corrected it, because this year it will be 70 million. But in case to prevent, of course, this in the future, we thought we printed quite large in an A3 format. It's maybe good to share to all your people that they will announce the figures, because we grow fast, so it's important to stay up to date. So I would like to hand over this book to you.